Welcome to the tutorial about Diablo 3. In this tutorial we will speak about stones and gems. So the stones are the colorful ones and what they actually does. So the yellow stone, if we put this in armor, so pants or kuras, will increase our intelligence, which as a wizard on a wizard give us the damage boost plus resistance to elemental damage. And how you can see is different shapes of it. So this is from the smaller ones. This give us only 62 to intelligence, higher ones 100, and another one is 160, 220, and 280. And the yellow ones also we use in the helmets, because this one is reducing resource costs. So we're spending our resources by different elemental, with different skills that require mana or arcane power. It's called in Diablo like this. This is reducing by 12.5% the resource cost. So it's actually eating less our mana during the channeling or using different abilities they're using it. So that's how we using it as. If we put in a weapon though, and it give us turn damage, and some builds in on a barbarian, crusader, and necromancer, the gem is also using, because it's builds for turns, and barbarian, crusader, and necromancer got passive skills to support it. Passive skills are this ones. Wizard unfortunately don't have this, so we don't use it on a wizard. And now the green gem. The green gem is most common to using in the weapon, because increasing critical hit damage by 130%, which I have now equipped. But if you don't have equipped and I put it in, then you see straight away is boosting your damage with dealing. And also the class is using dexterity as a main statistic, I would say. And this also we put in the armor or pants. This increasing dexterity in the bigger jet is 280 points. So it's quite a lot actually, and you can put 5 of them. So it's also boosting your damage. The helmet gives us extra gold, and we don't normally using it, because it's some items that actually boosting our gold pickup like much more than this gem, so it's really no use. And that's about the green one. And the red gem, when you're leveling from level 1 to level 75, I was using it actually in a helmet, because this gives us 41 more percent experience. It's 4.1 and level 70, but it's actually boosting experience what you're getting. So during the leveling, I have this gem socket in the helmet to do that. In other sockets if you put it in is in a weapon will give you 272 damage. It's not really useful that much. I started put it on the companion actually to boost his weapon a bit because he got instantly rise up damage that's dealing about 270. But on the character that you're playing, you're using green one most often. It gives us strength if we put it in the armor or trousers, and using this on the barbarian and crusader characters. And just about the green one. And the purple one, though, sometimes is used in a helmet because it increases your life by 23%. I see people doing it on the witch doctors. Some people put it in the wizards because your character is tougher and is dying less. If you put it on the trousers or the kuras, and it's give you 282 vitality, so the same thing, you give the character tougher. If you put it in the armor, then you're gaining 28,000 life per hit. So that means we're getting the damage, so your life is getting lower. So thanks to this gem, your life is going back to full one faster. And then we have blue one. You put it in a helmet, is reducing the cooldowns of your skills by 12.5%. Some builds require some skills got very long cooldown, so you put this gem in, then 12.5% gain skills faster, and the best example actually is Wizard on the Archon. Is a skill that your character is much more powerful than in normal form, but the cooldown on this skill is very long, so no, it actually is must have on this build, as many builds require actually very much faster cooldowns. So I put this gem in the socket. I don't have it in here as well. And then you're rolling statistic on a cooldown in items to lower this cooldown on the skill even more. In other case, you put in as I put it in here on the trousers, and your resistances to all elements. And many elites actually throwing the fire on us, ice, and all the elemental actually damage, and this is actually reducing it. So that's how we do it. And in the weapon, it gives you increased damage against elites. It's not very that useful. Maybe on low levels somebody is running with this, but on high levels, it's actually not much point on that. So this is the stones. I was going through the gems. I think I got all of them in here. So it's going one by one. First one is increased damage against enemies under effect of control, impairing effects by 22.5%. With the gems is the effect is kind of stay the same, but each level you make on the gem is increasing the first statistic. So this 22.5, if I have 26 on it, will be 22 and 0.9, and it's on this gem is 0.4 for each level of the gem, and you can boost it for how high you can go. That's how high you can boost it. And so actually, if you're boosting the gems, your damage of the character, depending on the gem, of course, is getting higher. So what else it does? after 25 level of a gem, you got um, second thing that's coming over, and the second index is appearing and is working. And this one is doing gain an aura that reduce the moving speed of enemies within 15 yards by 30%. And the secondary thing in this case um, is doing this effect of control impairing. So if you have this gem equipped, then automatically you have this effect, which is automatically giving you 22.5% in this case damage more. Next one is you're gaining increased damage for 1.0 seconds when you spend resource on the channel skill. In this case, it's like this one. I have it equipped, and this effect is stacking 10 times. When you get above level 25, then you're gaining 2% increase the armor for each stack. So what is giving you away channeling? So keep one skill on. Then gives you per stack armor and damage. The next one is damage you deal is increased by, in this case, 4.88% for every 10 yards between you and the enemy. Heal maximum 24.4% increase at 50 yards. So it means like if the enemy is more further than from you, then you're dealing more damage to them. And also you got 20% chance to stun the enemy for 1 second. The next one is Bane of the Stricken. So each attack you make against enemy increase the damage it takes from your attacks by, in this case, 1.1%, and you gain 25% increased damage against bosses and Rift Guardians. This is a very useful gem because the bosses on the end of a rift or greater rift got a lot of life and are more tougher than other enemies actually on the rift or greater rift. It means if you don't have damage against elites, then killing was quite a long time, and this is actually getting this time shorter, and sometimes is complete greater rift on a time or under the time. Difference between them is if you finish rift under the time, then you can improve the gems. If you do it above the time, then you don't have this option. And the next one is quite interesting. I'll explain it in the second why. So the effect is, while you have no set bonuses equipped, every legendary gem you have equipped increase your damage dealt by, in this case, 15%, but it's very low level of a gem, and reduce your damage taken by 2%. This bonus is double for action items. This is required rank 25. I have this gem on me actually. So this is like max level of it. So in the max level, for each item you have Asian, you get 375% damage increase. And I think it's double for Asian items, and this is actually the setup for it that I have. So I got all items Asian actually. I suppose I put, yeah. Oh, it's primal, but this is better than Asian, so it's also counting. That means if you count it, it's 375% damage increase. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I have 14 items. So multiplying this 14 multiplied by 375 It's really a lot of damage. Normally, this is the setup which is not require any set items. You cannot have any set items equipped. You can have one, but you cannot have two. So you cannot have effects from the set and from the start. Uh, like normally the sets give you boost to some abilities, but not all of them. And in the case in the stone, you can actually set up on your skills whatever you like to, and this will be boosted by this gem. Uh, so you can feel free and experiment with the skills and try your own thing or your own setup of the characters. It's pretty awesome. Okay, the next gem is Enforcer. This increases damage of your pets by 15.6%, and after 25 level, your pets take 90% less damage. And this gem you can actually use on every possible character in the game. I've can use it on Monk. On set of Ina, Monk got 4 companions, I would say. So this is actually increasing damage from your companions and reducing damage they take. You can use it on Barbarian. You can use it on Wizard. This is non-season, but from new season you got a skill called Hydra. I'll show you actually. It's like Hydra, and from the new season is like 20 for a 20 season. This 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 gem also working on this summon monster that you have with that, so it's also useful. Just go back to this, the skill back. So this is a very useful gem. You can also use it on Demon Hunter, on Witch Doctor. It's very common. People use that. As a esoteric alteration. Uh, you gain non-psychical damage reduction when your life is below 50%. Your resistance is cold, fire, lightning, poison, and arcane increased by 75%. This is very useful gem, especially when you play in a party and you are a character that need to be very close to the enemies, and of a lot of monsters and elites using elemental damage, and this is actually must have to survive. Because when you're dying, you're doing damage, and you're playing with a party, and your main damage deal of one of them, then it's very important to stay alive. So that's what the gem does. Another gem is Gok of Sweetness. And gain sweetness with every attack, increasing your attack speed by 1%, and dodge by this 0 level gem by 0.5% for 4 seconds. This ability stacks up 15 times. And after 25 level, you gain 1% cooldown reduction per stack of sweetness. So this means that is reducing your damage, reducing your cooldown by 1%. So in total, with all stacks, you gain 15% reduction of skills. It is very useful on many builds. On a wizard, is on Archon again, because without Archon form you get some challenge spell, So this one actually going quite fast to 15%, and plus your all other cooldown reductions, you can back to um, the icon form faster. But it's also using on other characters. I think that somebody was using it on the Warwind in the Barbarian also, so it's very nice jump. And that one is Boon of the Hoarder. Um, so what did it give us? Is in this case is 32.5% chance on killing an enemy to cause an explosion of gold. And at the 25th level is gain 30% increased movement speed for 2 seconds after picking up gold. It's many items that actually working with this gem. It's better than increasing your armor after you pick up the gold of amount actually they pick up exactly. So you're getting much tougher, and it's gold skin, which is armor. I probably have it somewhere. To oh, just to give you a chance for enemies to drop gold, and also it gives you 100% of sorry, extra gold from monsters. So this gem is useful for builds that are based on pick up the gold and big amount of gold. There's also some achievements in the season. Sometimes then you need to pick up 50 million gold in one row on one map, and this is useful in this case very often. The next gem is Gem of Ease. Monster kills grant you experience based on the level of the gem. Level equipment of this item is socketed into a set to 1. What this thing does? This thing, this gem gives you extra experience, of course, but it's also making item of level 30 if you put it in the weapon. This is the different kind of a gem. It's only in the weapon. So you put it in the weapon, then the weapon becomes the weapon of level 1, but all the statistic on the weapon stays the same. And you put this gem, of course, on much higher level than 27, because almost nothing. And then if you have one character on the season, they got max level 70 and you got some weapon. Don't really matter which one, but you got weapon level 70, some legendary, and you got this gem a bit higher or even on the same level, doesn't matter. And you put it in the weapon and put it in the inventory, in the stash. I mean, then you create new character and take the weapon from the stash with the gem in it, get level 1, and on level 1 this weapon with this gem you can put on your other character which is level 1, and you go for to level up the character. You're getting extra experience from it, plus you have a weapon which is much more is overpowered actually on the level you're playing. So you're leveling much faster and much easier. So what it does. The next gem is Bane of Powerful. You gain 20% increased damage for amount of time depending on the level of the gem after killing an elite pack. That means you got elite pack, you kill it, then again 20% increased damage for a period of time depending on the level of the gem. Plus, you're gaining increased damage versus elites and take 15% less damage from them. And at least the same as yes, we got like elite packs and give you more progress in the game than normal monsters, except yeah. So after killing so if you're killing elite, you got 15% more damage versus them, and you got 50% less, and taking 15% less damage from them. And after killing them, you got 20% increased damage for a period of time that is depending on level of the gem. This is 55 seconds. So for 1 minute, you're doing 20% more damage. If you have a higher level of it, then this time is actually longer. So this is helping you actually pass through the rift, all the greater rift faster. And you're receiving less damage from allies. And Molten Wilbeast Gizzard. It's organized life per second, depending on the level of the gem, of course. And after 25 level is after not taking damage for 4 seconds, gain an absorb shield for 200% of your total life per second. Okay. This one is gem of a fire shoes toxin. Poison element is hit for, in this case, 3250 weapon damage over 10 seconds. All enemies you poison take 10% increased damage from all sources and deal 10% less damage. I was using the gem on my beginning of 7th level drop, because it's actually everything you hit is affected by poison. So over 10 seconds they receiving damage. It's not like a lot of damage actually. It's not look like it's a lot of damage, but if you're not playing very high and you just begin on the level 70 and try to gear up, it's actually kind of useful, because a 10% increased damage and 10% less damage taken is on the beginning. It's kind of good. And then I got Wrath of Lighting, 15% chance to hit, to gain variable lighting, dealing in this case 1375% weapon damage as lighting every second to nearby enemies for 3 seconds. After 25 level, while under the effect of the Wrath of Lighting, gain 20% increased movement speed. I see this demos people using for speed farming, so you're going very very fast, and because you need to have the keys for great rifts, and you also want to pick up the legendary items for the rift, so you're going just much faster than you should. Simplicity Strength. Increase the damage of primary skills by 28%. Hit with primary abilities heal you for 4% of your maximum health. I see this is useful. You got primary skills in the skills, and if you're using this one and the primary skills, you put this down because this increase like a lot your damage. And if you're playing with no sets, like in this case I'm playing, and put this gem and combine it with this, then if you use your primary skill as a main damage dealer, this is actually must have. Okay, the next one. Teardrop of the Star Weaver has 50% on a hit to smite an nearby enemy for 3300% weapon damage as holy, and heal yourself for 3% of your maximum life. After 25 level, Smite a nearby enemy for 3 seconds, required rank 25 of course. And now mutilation ward, gain 20% melee damage reduction, is depending on the level. And then after 25 level, way below 50% of life, you may move under unhindered through enemies. Now what it does actually give you 50% some percent damage, melee damage reduction, and also you can walk freely among the enemies. It's just easy to pass through them. Not every enemy is an obstacle on your road. That's what it does. And next one is Boyarski chip. Adds in this case 32,800 ton damage, which if you combine it with skills of Necromancer, Barbarian, Crusader, plus also like Kuras, which give you 100% like the same amount ton damage as your vitality is, and you put this one on as boost for it actually. I see people was playing Necromancers with its Barbarians and Crusaders, so it's very useful. The next one is Ice Blink. Your Ice Blink skills now apply chill effects on your chill effect. Now slow enemy movement, an additional, in this case, is 19.8% because it's depending on the level. And the second effect, enemies you chill have a 10% increased chance to be critically hit. And this gem is, I was using it on the support, actually all supports. So all supports using this gem is Barbarian support is using it. It's Monk support, is actually healer in the game, is also using this one. Because slow enemies and actually all the people in the party, where the enemies are chill, they gaining 10% chance to be critically hit. It's very useful on greater lists, but most people using this gem only for support. The next one is Pain Enhancer. Critical hit causes the enemy to bleed for 2,750% in this case, because depending on level. And the secondary after 25 level is Gain Blood Frenzy, granting you 3% increased damage spent for each bleeding enemy within 20 yards. And this gem I know the people using in the Whirlwind, because you pass through many enemies and this increasing your attack speed for each bleeding, and this is the main reason why actually people using it. The damage from it is also useful, but it's not like huge amount of it. And next one is Investigating Gemstone. Each hit done increase healing received by 1.4% for 5 seconds, stacks up 10 times. And you are immune from control impairing effect. Actually, I didn't see anybody play with it, and I never played with this gem either. I think it could be useful in a party when you got support healing you, and it means like you're receiving more heal. And the last one, this is actually, it's kind of even than Diablo. In Diablo 3 you got how to say that, you got some other map. It's like from Diablo 2 using like old graphics. And after you finish this event you gain this gem. is a red soul shard. And this gem, putting a struggle of control, unleashing a ring of fire that inflicts 20,600% weapon damage to enemies it passes through. But it will be much higher because it's only rank 2. And then after 25 level, after gaining a level, your sales cost is removed and cooldowns on skills are reduced by 75% for 30 seconds. I was playing this gem actually, damage from it is incredible. And after gaining a level, I think from the leveling will be nice. But actually, if you put this ring of fire is going, your character is stuck. You cannot move, and this is the main actually issue with this gem, and that's why people don't play it on the higher, on the top levels, 70s. Never seen anybody play that. So this is all in this episode. Have fun, uh, experiment with the skills, gain level, gear up. See you in the next episode. Bye.